So they're being charged to rescue them, and
Yes.
her line is fantastic. We're gonna save them, and then you're gonna impregnate them.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them out, and then you're gonna get them pregnant.
Hello, and welcome back to the 197th episode. Good Bad or Bad Bad, the show watch terrible movies tell you should do. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Chiligo, joining me on this delightful Saturday afternoon, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle.
Got a
Wasn't ready for
wild one.
your okay, anyways.
Yes.
It was so intense. It was so intense. Kyle, today we're doing a film that brings a lot of old GBorBB alums back in different capacity. Well,
yeah, in every facet of filmmaking.
Yes.
Almost here.
Kind of across the board, kind of wild. The film we're talking about today is one I've actually heard of.
It's a classic.
Yes.
People have been asking us to do this one for a while, and
Yes.
we were kind of hesitant just because like it was notorious.
It's notorious.
But then we looked at I finally looked at who was involved, and I was like,
it makes sense. We got to do it. Yeah. The film we're talking about today is Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Hell Comes to Frogtown, a story of mutant sex and people like you and me.
And boy, I was not prepared for that title to be as accurate as it was. I truly was not expecting the second half of this movie.
Private Barton.
Well, yes, but
Shut your hole!
Once I found out who the director, one of the directors was, I was like, oh god, this makes total sense now. Everything about this movie makes total sense.
Yes, but still, I was I was not expecting them to go so off,
Literal?
literal. Yes, in the second half of this film, which I thought was a lot of fun. And spoilers, this movie is kind of good. It is. It's also terrible, but it's kind of great.
We're gonna get them out, and then you're gonna get them pregnant.
So the film is directed. You've alluded to this.
Yes.
Two directors, actually.
Two directors. One I've never really heard of.
Yes, you have.
Oh.
Surprise. We'll get there. But we'll go with the other one first.
The other who I was utterly shocked because this guy is notorious for not filming with scripts.
Yes.
Donald G. Jackson.
Donald G. Jackson, the other half of Zen filmmaking, along with Scott Shaw. So we've done a lot of Scott Shaw films, but Donald G. Jackson is often like either his director or camera operator or involved in some capacity.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of looking through the credits at the end of the movie to see if Scott Shaw was in like the stunts.
Oh, like involved at all? Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. Because that wouldn't have surprised me. But so Donald G. Jackson, who, is involved in a lot of Scott Shaw stuff. As you mentioned, Zen filmmaking, I've inserted many clips over the years of him, specifically Donald G. Jackson being like, scripts, who needs them? Fuck you. It's great.
Find out who you're, what the elements are you have in place, your locations, then the inspiration comes when you're ready.
But so he is one, and I wondered, I wonder if this one has a script when I saw the opening credits and saw him directing it. And it does. We'll get to it.
It has to.
Absolutely has a script, yes.
It's competent.
Yes, this film, spoilers, is kind of competent.
I gotta tell you, you are one weird dude.
But the other director, who you said you didn't know, his name's R.J. Kaiser. That name, I'm sure, doesn't ring a bell.
Wait. Hang on.
Oh.
RoboJocks?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't think he's involved with that, but...
Crash and burn.
I have one or two words. I think it's two words. Said as one. The Death Ring.
What? Really?
Yes, he is the director
wow, what an
of
obscure film.
Death Ring.
The Death Ring.
He's also, as we mentioned, I think, on Death Ring, hilariously, surprisingly, ironically, his actual job normally, he's not a director. He directed this, Death Ring, and one other movie.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was in the art department.
No. Another guess.
Sound?
Yeah. He's an ADR editor.
Oh my God.
But he's been an ADR editor. Let me rip off a couple films here for you. Interstellar, Deadpool, War for the Planet of the Apes, The Dark Knight Rises. He was an ADR editor on like a bunch of legit movies. He's worked with Nolan a lot.
Well, I think, as we said for the DP of Battlefield Earth, Only improved.
Yes.
Only improved.
Yes. Which, to be fair, the ADR is not terrible in this movie compared to, but like in Death Ring, there was
Where they clearly added a line.
some clearly terrible lines added to Death Ring.
I'm at 100 G's, and I barely got a sweat on my balls from my trouble.
This one, yeah, no, it the ADR is fine, but yeah, that's the other director on this film. It's like I said, it's the who's who of people who have been on Good, Bad, or Bad.
That's wild.
But I was cracking up. The movie starts at 100 for me because opening up, we get this like voiceover, and it's over black, and it was just the most metal ass line I've ever.
In the latter days of the 20th century, there arose a difference of opinion.
In the latter days of the 20th century, there arose a difference of opinion. Nuclear bomb! That is an awesome opening line. That's a cool open.
I like to see. I might have to look and see who the art department was for this.
Yeah,
because the people involved in this just screams robot jocks or whatever.
Oh, you think?
Because
interesting. Yeah.
Not only just the landscape and all that design stuff, they also have the same fertility subplot. Well, I guess.
Well, yeah, there is a fertility subplot, and that is similar to the Robot Jocks one. Yeah, where we do a lot of world building through, like, because they do the posters on the wall that are like, "Go fuck, don't use condoms." Yeah.
Now, MedTech's main assignment is to locate and impregnate fertile women in the wastelands.
The other thing that blew my mind, and we'll get there, is that this movie, I have to imagine George Miller likes this movie.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Now, it's clearly a Mad Max ripoff, so like I think this kind of maybe went both ways. I will say this, I've not seen the early Mad Max films.
Boo this man!
But I have seen Fury Road and I have seen Furiosa. I think maybe George Miller stole some of the plot elements for Furiosa from this movie. For Fury Road from this movie.
Brian, do everybody a favor. All of our fans right now a favor. Once we're done filming and you're done with all your stuff, you need to watch The Road Warrior.
I know.
It is the absolute best.
It's in the list. I got to go back and watch them all.
The first one's a boring chase sequence, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's not that boring, but
it
can't be. The third one is basically just
is the third one Battle for Thunderdome? Or
Beyond Thunderdome.
Or Beyond
is
Thunderdome.
Basically just they're like, hey, we got a movie for a third one. You want Tina Turner?
Tina Turner, yeah.
Throw Tina Turner in there.
Yeah.
But the second one is the one that really sets the standard for what Mad Max is all about.
Okay. Like I said, I do want to watch them. Fury Road is maybe one of my favorite movies of all time, and Furiosa was very good. But witness me, bloody! I will go back and watch them. But there's some plot elements at the end of this movie and throughout, but mainly at the end of this movie that I was like, this is very reminiscent of Fury Road. We get this open with badass like voiceover. Nuclear bomb goes off. We're establishing essentially a clone of a Mad Max world. We're basically doing post-apocalyptic, Fallout. Pick your post-apocalyptic nuclear war. Now it's a desert wasteland.
Apparently, I guess. Well, we really don't know, but like gasoline is what the stock and trade is in the Mad Max universe.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we really get that here.
They don't. It doesn't seem to be as much of an issue because that guy needs some later for his chainsaw, and he's just like, I need some gasoline, and he goes and gets like a can of it. It's like, and they don't act like it's like a huge commodity like it is in the Mad Max movies. But I thought the opening credits on this were kind of fun. We get these strange like character screens that are like super stylized and like slow mo as the opening credit music plays, which I thought the opening credit music didn't really fit, but whatever. Then we get introduced to our main character tied into a chair.
Rowdy Roddy Piper, who I guess we really don't get his name for quite a while.
I think, I don't remember. I have it here at the beginning, but I might have got that from IMDb as I was watching. But his name is Sam Hell. What a name!
Yes,
I mean Mad Max Sam Hell. I get what we're doing here. This is not an innovative film, particularly in some ways.
He's in the middle of being just tortured, right?
Yeah, interrogated / tortured
by.
This guy was. He was in
William Smith.
Yeah,
who was also in a Scott Shaw Donald Jackson film.
The whatchamacall one, right? Rollerblade 7. I think he's one of the guys in that. Or what did you think he was in?
It wasn't Rollerblade. Was it Rollerblade 7? I don't know. All those films.
It wasn't the one where they go look for the monster or the.
No, that one's too modern.
Yeah,
this is 19. This was the 1990s one where he's in a wheelchair for most.
Yeah,
of the film.
that's Rollerblade 7.
That is Rollerblade 7.
I'm pretty sure because I don't know what else it would have been that we did. I'm pretty sure that's Rollerblade 7. I'm fairly certain because I remember a guy being in a wheelchair in that, and I think it's him. But yeah, and that's the thing is that after watching this, it's so funny because this is such a thought out and like, you know, lovingly crafted film. Yes. Even though it's kind of bad at parts, it's like lovingly crafted. And then you compare that to like, they're like, oh, let's do that again in Rollerblade 7, but like not think about anything that we do over the course of the film. The crazy thing about this film is it's wacky, it's just goofy and all that, but the writing is freaking solid. Pretty good, yeah.
Like Regulation 12, keep the subject in an excited state. It promotes potency.
Oh, potency.
There's no loose ends. There's nothing that's like. I mean,
it's super goofy.
It's grandiose and absurd.
Yes.
But everything is kind of within its own little reality.
Yeah, similar in the way to like Mad Max, so like where there's stuff that's like ridiculous and over the top, but it feels like it works within this ridiculous universe that the story is set in. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you have a in Mad Max, you got a guy fucking named a Doof who rides on a goddamn wagon and shoots flames with a guitar, and like, yes, you're like, this is stupid, but in the universe, you're like, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Why not? Totally makes sense. Let's do it. But yeah, so we're introduced to him. He's getting beat up by this guy, and we find out it's because he slept with the guy's daughter. Yeah. Well, he says he assaulted his daughter, but then there's like, oh, she changed her story, and I don't know if it's ever resolved what happened there. It doesn't really matter for this plot.
This prisoner was accused of sexual assault.
Your daughter has changed her story.
I think the idea is that they slept together, and that he's accusing him of assault, even though it's not actually what happened. They just slept together. But this guy's mad about it. But we find out that she's pregnant. And this is how they realize.
And that's a big deal.
Big deal.
Once she found out she was pregnant, she must have had a change of heart.
Because women have most of the world's population.
Yes, everybody's infertile, they say. Like basically everybody, like women and men, regardless, they're just infertile for the most part. And so the fact that he's fertile is like a big thing.
The war reduced our male population by 68%.
Because initially I thought it was just the men who had gone infertile, but
I would say like the infertility ratio is probably roughly the same percentage-wise of the sexes, but there's significantly less men in the world because the whole world's been at war.
Yes, that does seem like what it is. Yeah, but initially I thought it was just that the men were infertile, but then we find out that like because like most of our main characters, like the main female lead in the movie is also, she says she's infertile, so like it affects most people, and then other people just turn into frogs. So like we'll get to that here eventually, because again this name is very literal. Yes. But so they find out that he's fertile, so they're like, okay, well, we got a mission for you, bub. You got to go impregnate the wasteland.
Now MedTech's main assignment is to locate and impregnate fertile women in the wastelands.
Your junk is now property of the U.S. government.
Literally, they put a chastity belt thing on them that says property of the provisional government. It's incredible. But yeah, he's got so much jizz, they're sending him out into the field to spread his seed, which is the goofiest premise, but also amazing.
This is where we're introduced to another GBorBB alum. What's her first name? How do you pronounce her first name? Sandel?
Oh, yes.
Sandel
Bergman. Yeah, I can't remember how
from Conan the Barbarian.
I was trying. What was she in that we've done?
She.
Oh, she was in She. Okay.
Yeah, she was the lead in She.
Yeah, because I knew she was in Conan, but I was like, we've not done that on the show. Yeah, that's right. She was in She. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. But she's like a scientist or doctor scientist or something. She's part of MedTech, they call it.
They're basically like, we need you to be we need you to be ridiculously over the top, like both attractive and seductive.
Yes.
While also wearing
a badass.
While also wearing the world's worst librarian glasses.
Yes. They're like, you're the sexy nerdy doctor who's a bad, like it's incredible. She's like in the same way that what's his name is like every trope. He's like, the fucking Rowdy Roddy Piper. Yeah. He's like this ultra badass who's like super funny and smart. He's like amazing at sex and like all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
I heard stories about you. I wanted to see if they were true.
she's like the same thing, except she's like this super hot, nerdy doctor who's super smart and also a badass secretly. And like, it's kind of incredible. But I love he asked during the scene where they're explaining like his chastity belt thing. He's like, well, how am I? They're like, well, because they explain that it's like they can shot, or that we don't get that part yet, but they explain that it's like, you know, to keep him from using it without their without them letting him or whatever. And he's like, well, how am I supposed to do it?
How am I supposed to, you know?
There's a flap.
And they're like, there's a flap. And we will hear about the flap more later. It's incredible. And because this is where I was confused. I was like, well, why are they sending him out into the wasteland? There seem to be a lot of women at this military compound. Yeah. But again, then we find out pretty shortly that most of them are infertile. So he has to go out into the wasteland to find the fertile women, which is incredible.
The plot is goofy.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yes.
But it also works.
Yes, absolutely.
It made most of the human race sterile, but we're still at war, a population war.
But the impetus now we find out is that specifically there was a bunch of known fertile women that were captured at Frogtown.
Yes, and now they're
taken to Frogtown.
Effectively part of a harem there.
Yes, they've been captured and enslaved in Frogtown.
We're going to Frogtown. Their leader, Commander Toady, has kidnapped some pilgrims who wandered into their territory.
And Spangle is her name, the character.
Yes.
And then her like military escort buddy.
So they're being charged to rescue them, and her line is fantastic. We're gonna save them, and then you're gonna impregnate them.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them out, and then you're gonna get them pregnant.
It's amazing. It's so good. I also couldn't get over how much the hot doctor Spangle looks like. To me, looked like Katie Sagal. Like the voice,
like a blonde Katie Sagal.
Yeah, like kind of like something about her eyes or cheekbones, or I don't know. You just could not stop seeing Katie Sagal.
Because Al works very hard for his money, and he deserves me to work equally as hard to get him to spend it on me.
I love, so they go out, they're going out to venture out into the world. They load up into their amazing vehicle, which is a bright pink, like either ambulance, like old ambulance.
It's like an old Studebaker. Almost.
Yeah, but because it's like, it almost looks like an ice cream truck or something. You know what I mean? Like an old school ice cream truck or something.
It's so goofy.
But it's got a machine gun mounted on top. It reminded me of Twisted Metal, is what it reminded me of.
100%.
Yes,
100%.
Like, because famously in that there's an ice cream truck with like machine guns on it. Kind of reminded me of that. But so they venture out into the world, and they're journeying for a bit, and then he's like, well, they stop for to fix a tire or add gas, I think. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I gotta pee. And they're like, all right, go pee. And I love, he's like, I won't go far. And then it cuts and he's seemingly miles away up a hill, like running. And I'm like, you guys just let him just wander away.
Yeah.
But the reason they didn't care, we find out.
Because he's got a proximity thing.
Yes.
Which is in her earring, right?
She has, two different ones. One of them's a proximity thing that like beeps and tells her where he is or something, or how far away he is. And then the other earring she can touch, and it zaps his junk.
The proximity sensor in my earring activates the ECR electronic stinger.
And so she starts zapping his junk.
You will impregnate who we tell you to impregnate, or I will torture your balls.
Yes, exactly. And so she starts zapping his junk, and so he's not able to escape. And then we cut to that night. They're like turning in for the night to camp, and I was so confused initially.
Is so
like,
crazy.
What is happening here, Kyle?
Sandal Bergman's, she just goes full seductress mode.
She unzips her tent, comes out in full lingerie, and I'm like, why would you have that? What is going on? Well, we find out why she has it.
Part of her job is to keep him stimulated,
horned up.
Yes, to promote.
Regulation 12, keep the subject in an excited state. It promotes potency.
Oh, potency.
Yeah, well, they say just to make it to keep him turned on. But like initially, we think she just wants to fuck him. Like she's just coming on to him, and she's like, and she comes over, and he's like, no, I don't want to sleep with you. And then he goes to grab her, and she's like, and she zaps him, and he's like, what is happening? And she's like, sorry, it's my job to keep you, as you said, turned on, because that like keeps you volatile or something.
She's a government issued fluffer.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Like, you're not wrong. That is the joke here. Then she goes back to bed because she's all like, after he tries to come onto her, she's like, no, I can't, I'm not, no, that's not, I just have to keep you turned on or whatever. Then as he's sleeping, fucking machine gun girl comes over, just completely naked, and is like, we're having sex now.
And it's just, man, that scene, she is going at it.
Yeah, and it's funny because she explains like, and this is, again, it's hilarious. She's like,
I heard stories about you. I wanted to see if they were true.
You're infamous. Everybody, or, you're famous. Everybody knows about Sam Hell and how good he is at fucking. And she's like, I just want to experience it.
Oh God.
And she's like, don't worry, I'm not fertile. It's fine. And it's like, okay. And then they get interrupted by Spangle. But yeah, it's fucking amazing. Then the next day they're venturing some more, and they come across like a signal, like a motion signal or something. I don't know.
I thought it was just some or is it detecting life?
I don't know. Yeah, life. Period? Something. They get a signal and they're driving.
Not you, motion tracker.
We got a live one. Let's check it out. Get in.
They just know that this is important enough to take their attention away.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be a fertile woman.
A random feral fertile woman. She seems feral initially.
I thought she escaped the hair.
Yes, that is ultimately what. But like when they find her, she's all dirty and like raggy.
Just a convenient situation.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, look, a random fertile woman." And I love they get her and they like tie her up and they're like, "All right, we're saving you." And then they're like, "All right, sleep with her."
Yeah, she's ovulating and you've got a high count. Let's go.
It's the horniest movie imaginable. I love because he's like, "Well, I'm not." She's like, "I don't." He's like, "I don't." She's not.
She's not my type, huh?
Your type?
Yeah.
You have preference.
And he initially says she's not my type, and then he's like, well, I like to have a conversation, and like he's like, I don't just want to have sex with her. And the doctor's like, oh, that's fine, I'll help. So she starts like stripping, and it's the horniest movie. It's so fucking horny, Kyle. It's hilarious.
I'd imagine Donald Jackson behind the camera going,
yeah,
slower.
Yeah,
slower.
Well, I love it's actually kind of funny, and again, this reminds me a little bit of like DOA, where it feels like everybody's in on the joke a little bit compared to some of these other movies. Where I love that her whole thing is she's like, "Well, I'm trained in the art of seduction," and then she does the most awkward, ridiculous because she's like been trained to be sexy by like scientists or whatever. Yes. So she does this super like rehearsed, ridiculous like sexy dance.
Our government funded arousal program.
Yes, yeah, again, it's actually really funny because of that, like the way she performs it great. You can tell she feels super awkward, but it's like going through the motions. It's really funny.
Sam's like, okay, this is good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I guess I'm going to have to live up to my contract.
And I love the next day. So then they wake up the next morning and they have slept. Like she sees them and like laying together in bed, Sam and the random wild girl. And she's like, oh, she turns to her machine gun friend and it's like, oh, did you wash her, like bathe her? Because she's like all clean now. Yeah. And her friend's like, no, he did. And I was like, how did he lick her clean like a cat? Like what happened here?
You're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, how did he? And I think the implication is that he licked her clean like a cat. I don't know.
You clean her up? Not me.
So they're approaching Frogtown.
Yes.
They're getting close to Frogtown. They send her back. They give her like a beacon thing.
They also injected her with like hormone stuff to be like,
yes.
ovulate now.
They made her super fertile in that moment so that he could impregnate her.
I've injected her with Ovidol to facilitate procreation. That's why you're here, remember?
And then they send her back to like their facility and they're like, you'll be taken care of. And then they're going to go break into Frogtown. But in order to do that, she needs to be disguised as a prisoner. So Spangle, because they came around the corner of the back, he comes around the back of the vehicle and she's wearing this like black tattered, and I was like, what is happening? Oh, she's pretending to be like a prisoner or whatever. So now she's in this like sexy bondage outfit or whatever.
Handcuffed, got a collar with a chain.
Yeah, exactly. And so he drags her,
which Rowdy Roddy Piper's character can't get enough of. He just likes yanking that thing.
Yeah, so they drag her to the town so he can bring her in and pretend like that he's gonna trade her or whatever.
This the setting for this town just feels like I'm playing Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it really does. Yeah, they get especially the interior, like it's like some old like warehouse. It reminds me of like Gastown from the Mad Max movies or whatever. But it's like this old some sort of facility, power plant, something.
Just repurposed to what is effectively a saloon and
like casino. A club, like a club saloon kind of area. But he dragged, and before they go in, he like takes her glasses and is like, "You don't need these," and throws them. Like, I hope she can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she goes the rest of the movie without glasses, and I'm like, I guess that she didn't really need them. I don't know. So they get inside, and this is where we're introduced to one of my favorite characters, Sexy frog lady.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And the concept, we're introduced to the fact that this movie, as you said, is very literal in its title. Frogtown, spoilers. Well, we didn't even mention this because in the very beginning, there was this opening, like cold open scene where we see this guy finds like a little miniature Statue of Liberty, which that was kind of a fun forced perspective thing where they're making it look like the actual Statue of Liberty.
I thought it was like, oh, it's like a Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what that was the reference they were going for. And then it's a little toy, but then like some guy gets like he gets it, but then he gets knocked out. Or he gets attacked by some guy, and it's a person in a mask, and we can't see them. And then he pulls out a gun and shoots the guy, and because the guy keeps calling him a greener.
Greeners can't have guns.
Yes, and you're like,
what does that mean? And
apparently it means people who have been mutated to become frogs.
Yes, they have. There's a whole group of people, kind of like the mutants in Fallout, who instead of becoming like ghouls, have become frog, amphibian, reptile people. It's incredible.
Specifically, yes. All right,
but like different kinds, because some of them are more frog-like, some of them are more lizard-like. Yes. They're just like random amphibians and reptiles, but they're full on makeup cost. Like that was the thing that was crazy. Mm-hmm. They're full face makeup that actually looked pretty good.
Which like this is clearly where all the money for this film went.
Yeah.
And once again, I am upset and distraught that Donald G. Jackson didn't do more work like this.
Yeah, why?
Because it's fun, it's goofy, and it worked.
No private partners allowed in Frogtown. Tootie's law.
Yes, absolutely. Just a complete career nosedive as soon as he met Scott Shaw. I feel like that was I don't know. But like, because this movie, if he had made more movies, like maybe he did. Maybe there are other ones. Like I know there's a sequel to this that everybody says is terrible. But yeah, maybe he did make more movies like this. But if he had, because this movie, is a lot of fun. Whereas the Scott Shaw movies that he did are just nothing.
No.
But I love, so he meets, we were introduced to some more characters here, including one is an old friend of Sam's named Looney. Who's just this crazy old guy.
This dude, his voice sounds like 2 packs a day.
Yeah, a guy who smoked a lot of cigarettes over his lifetime.
They call me Looney Tunes because I'm so crazy. I'm sinier than anybody you know.
Then we're also introduced to maybe my favorite character in the whole movie, who's only in it very briefly. At least I think he's only in it briefly. Is the lizard wearing a fez?
Yes,
that guy's awesome.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
Louis or something like that.
Yeah, because he's not the villain, right? That's a different character, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but he's wearing a giant fez.
It's a lizard wearing a giant fez. It's fucking it's just undeniably awesome.
What do you think after they were done with costume and all that stuff, and they had this come together? What do you think everybody's reaction to that was? It's just the funniest goddamn thing.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
There's no way they weren't laughing their ass off.
100%. It's amazing.
A noble gesture, Mr. Hell.
Yeah, so he's got this giant fucking fez, and then he basically steals Spangle from him, right? Or does somebody else come in?
It was like the warden, or like it's somebody who's in charge of the government, or in some vast in charge of the government. Louis I think his name's Louis. He's the owner of the saloon,
right? Of the saloon,
and he wants to basically purchase her as entertainment.
Yes, that's right.
Because they need new attraction to bring in the crowd.
Yeah,
I want something to bolster sagging attendance.
And then that's when the other guy comes in, who is our ultimate villain, which I don't remember his name at all. The other lizard guy. They're
all frog dude number 2.
Yeah, and he steals Spangle from him and is like, nah, she's mine. I need her. And he takes her, and then Sam gets knocked unconscious against the wall.
And then his pants start beeping.
Yeah, yes. And I love before that they found him a radioactive Coors Light because he needed something to drink. They're like, we found
once again,
Coors Light
so Fallout.
Yes.
And they're like, because the first thing he had when he came there was their form of alcohol. Which is just,
he said it tastes like sewage or industrial waste or whatever.
Tastes like industrial waste.
Yeah.
And then he gets an actual beer. Yeah, it's full of radiation. You'll probably shit your insides out, but at least it tastes good.
It's only slightly radioactive.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. So then after he gets knocked out, he wakes up and he's being taken care of by sexy frog lady, who I can never remember her name. But she wants to fuck Sam because she has also heard how good of a lay he is.
Oh, what are you doing?
Just promise me you won't be gentle.
But then his thing starts beeping because he got too far away from Spangle, and so he has to go find her or his dick's gonna explode. So they go chasing after. He's like, I gotta find her because like he's using the beeping from his jump to the like as a echolocation. Yeah. It's kind of amazing. But I love there's this like...
Hang on, I need to use my pants as a dividing rod.
Yeah, exactly. I love though, as they're running to find her, like they come down the staircase and the sexy frog lady trips and falls into a bunch of wires and she's like, go on without me. And I was like, that's just there because they didn't want to include this character.
Ridiculously overdramatic.
Yeah. Well, it's like they just didn't want this character involved in like the next part probably. But then she shows up like 30 seconds later.
Probably
so I don't
took
know.
like 4 hours of makeup.
That's what I was thinking. But she shows up in the scene anyway. So I was like, I don't know. It was weird that
unlike the rest of like the frog people, like hers is clearly makeup stuff.
Yes.
Not like just some latex gloves and a mask that you can put over.
Yeah. Because the frog like lizard guys, their heads are like animatronic, like whole things. Whereas hers, she can emote her face through it basically. But my guess is that there must have been a thing where when he shows up in that room where they have Spangle at the beginning, or when he comes in to try to save her before he falls off the railing, that shot of him coming in, they must have filmed that first and realized they didn't have her there for some reason, so they went back and added that scene where she gets caught in the wire. It's the only way that makes any sense. Anyway, so he comes in to try to save Spangle, and just immediately
eats shit.
Sam!
Shit, yeah, it's so amazing. Oh, meanwhile, but before he gets there, we got to talk about this ceremony that the brides, and I call them the brides because that's what they're the brides from Fury Road. I'm sorry, that's what they are. Spoilers. George Miller stole that from this movie. But they're doing this like ceremony that they say is awakening her body, and they're like fanning her and like caressing her with like sheer fabric. And I was like, is she masturbating? Because it seems like she's like, we're not seeing below the waist, and the way she's moving makes it seem like she is. But anyway, so they're awakening her body. And I love occasionally, like randomly, the fabric will graze her earring and it will trigger his zapper in his jump. So stupid. So anyways, but then he falls and like you said, he just falls off the railing and they capture him.
Lands on a crate full of shotguns?
Yes. But they end up capturing him and they tie him up.
It's like a level in Doom.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. They tie him up, and one of some other random lizard frog guy is like, hey, I want to get that thing off because he wants to see. I don't remember why he wants to get it off, but he wants to get the chastity belt thing off.
I think he was told like it had explosives or something.
Well, he thinks there isn't explosives in it because that's what Roddy Piper keeps going. You can't cut it off; it'll explode.
Yeah,
and he's like, nah, it'll be fine or whatever.
I gotta tell you, you are one weird dude.
But that's where he goes to cut it off, but then he runs out of gas, so he has to go get more gas for his chainsaw. It's like a random like comedy beat.
Now what? What do you think? To get more gas.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and he chops it off, and it doesn't blow up. He's able to cut it off. But then it kind of blows up in his face. I don't,
doesn't seem like it would really be enough to even.
Well, it doesn't kill him. He's alive still.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it'd be enough to kill Rowdy Roddy Pipper.
It blows dick off, I guess, which would be the main impetus for the punishment there that they're going for. But
I would be like, but he's fertile. Why would?
Yeah, it is like, weird. It does. It is dumb. Yeah. So I love then what's her name? Spangle is able to, or not escape, but she's in there talking to the other women, and she's like, "I'm gonna get you out of here. We came to rescue you." And I love there's a great comedy scene here.
She's like starting to convince them, and they're like, maybe we can escape this place. Maybe we can fight for freedom.
I can get you out. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
And then she gets taken away. And she's like,
some guys come in and grab her.
I think we're good.
Yeah, and they're like,
You ripped your hands off me! Stop it! Then again
is the line. Like, they're like, maybe we can escape. And she's, then again, I guess not. And then Sexy Frog Lady shows up and saves Sam, saves Rowdy Roddy Piper, and they're walking away, and then she gets stabbed in the chest with a drill bit.
I do like how Sam's like, yeah, we can do it, but you got to put on the bag.
anything, Sam.
Put this on.
Yeah, he's got a bag because he doesn't want to have sex with a frog. I get that. I guess I don't.
But she likes carrying the bag with her.
Yeah,
and she like rescues him, and he's like, oh, I owe you big time. And she pulls out the bag. He's like, here, right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I was very upset that Sexy Frog Lady got killed because I liked her a lot. But she gets stabbed.
She
in the
died
chest
immediately.
And dies. I mean, she did get a giant drill bit through her heart.
Well, no, not just in that regard. Like from like, I owe you one to dead is like 30 seconds
it's like
worth
immediate.
of film.
Yes, it's like immediate. Yeah. But then he's able to kill the other guy, which I think was the chainsaw guy. That was he does something to him and kills him. Now Spangle gets taken in front of the big evil bad guy. And she has to do this thing they've mentioned several times.
The snake dance?
The dance of the three snakes.
Keep the fires high, and you may survive the dance of the three snakes.
Is what it's called.
Okay.
She has to do the dance of the three snakes, and the other women have said that like other women have done it and they haven't survived or whatever. And so she goes in to do it, and she's like, dance for me. And she's like, what do you want, ballet or contemporary or something? And he's like, no, the dance of the three snakes. So then she just literally starts flailing around.
Yes, it's so weird.
Literally
and then we find
around.
out what the three snakes
Yes.
is.
Oh, also, before she starts dancing, she does have a great one-liner. I can't shortchange this. He says, dance for me. And she says,
The only dance I'm gonna do is the dance on your grave.
the only dance I'm going to do is a dance on your grave, which is good. But yes, then we find out what the three snakes, what that means.
You have aroused the three snakes.
He has three dicks. Kyle. It's what it's dicks. He's got three snake dicks.
Yep. It's that kind of movie.
He says you have aroused the three snakes, and then she kicks him three times in the dick.
It's great. It's amazing.
It's so good. Oh God! And then at that moment, I believe that's when Sam busts in to save. Like he has been freed at this point. I think he kicks the door in and yells, "Eat lead, froggies!" Which again, another objectively incredible line.
With
Eat lead, froggies.
He's dual wielding pump shotguns.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
Eat lead, froggies! It's really great. Anyways, so he's able to save her. And they get out, and there's a big, like, kind of escape chase as they get out of this thing. And the machine gun girl pulls up in the vehicle, and they're able to all get out. Looney helps him escape. He's like, I'll hold him off with my flare gun or whatever.
There is something about, I guess, a regulation on weapons and whatnot. And
is there? I missed that.
He's able to get a flare gun, which is like huge.
Yeah, but he's like killing people with flare guns and stuff. But he gets out, and they all get into the vehicle at the last second, and they drive away. And then we have some downtime as they're driving, and we find out that Sam had a daughter, just some backstory stuff.
Yeah.
He basically explains like the little necklace he's wearing was his daughter's. And
we need to humanize him.
Yeah, well, because Spangle's like, well, the war was a long time ago, and he says,
not for me.
Not for me.
The war was a long time ago.
Not for me.
Yes.
Not for me.
Incredible. And I actually might not even. Yeah, we're not even out of the building yet at this point. I think that happens because there's this other scene where then she kicks some guards. They do give the car eventually, but she kicks some guards' ass because there's this one point where they're trying to escape, and these guards come around the corner, and she like beats the shit out of him, and he's like, "Are you sure you even need me?"
Exactly.
It's just good.
Sure you need me?
But then we get this car, and I was like, are we going to get a Mad Max chase? Because this is the point, and I cannot stress enough, the women, who I will be calling the wives, are dressed almost identically to the wives from Fury Road.
Do we get a Mad Max chase? Not quite to the same degree.
No, it's a little disappointing.
But as they are getting the hell out of there,
yeah,
big shocker because this is an 80s movie.
Yeah,
somebody got shot. Well, actually, two people got shot, but we're helping Looney get out.
Looney
of
is
there.
dying.
No,
Oh no,
Looney,
he's bleeding to death in the back of the car.
See this happening?
Yeah. Yeah, the old guy who like is crazy.
The old
who
mentor.
said he was gonna hold him off. Yeah, 100% that guy wasn't gonna die.
Yeah,
I sure hope it. Heavens is good.
Yeah, but he dies. Oh no, so sad. But yeah, it's basically just Fury Road now. We have a car full of fertile women who have been used for breeding on the road. And then the badass dude and his badass chick counterpart trying to save them. It's literally just Fury Road, except not good. But like then. So they're on the run, and the bad guys are behind them, but then they like pull over for some reason. I can't remember why they stopped, or maybe it's because it's Looney dying or something. They stop for some reason, and as they're stopped, this figure comes out of like the mountains.
Yes,
and this is surprise, this guy in a mask,
William Smith.
Woof, pulls it off with a rocket launcher, and it's the guy from the beginning.
Yes, the rocket launcher.
Yes, he's got an RPG, and so he's pointing it at them, and then he pulls out a gun to shoot Spangle for some reason. And he just goes on this monologue explaining his whole, like, what his whole deal is. He's like, I've been trading weapons to the... It's like, okay, sure, monologue.
And then rid this world of those meddling medtech bitches.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, the movie lampshades, because literally Roddy Piper throws his sword out, which is
it's great.
I forgot. Yes. It's like the end of that. What was that one movie where he throws the katana through the window that we did? The Seagal movie or whatever?
Was it Window for a Kill or something like that? Out for a Kill.
Out for a Kill. Yeah. But he's able, one of the wives like gives him his katana that he has on his back, and he chucks
just
it
right through him.
Right through his chest.
Which apparently didn't have too much of an effect on him.
No, he's able to just like pull it out and run away, and it's fine. But he gets away, and I love after that happens, fucking Roddy Piper's like, yeah, monologue too long, basically. He like lampshades, he's like, he talks too much.
You sly dog, you got me monologuing.
Yeah, exactly.
Long-winded son of a bitch.
But anyways, he basically explains the bad guy had one part of his thing is he explained he wants to like be able to get nukes so he can nuke the world because women are taking over too much or something. I don't know.
I would love the subversion of the monologuing trope where they try to get the villain to monologue, but his explanation is like 2 sentences long.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, there's nothing else to your devilish scheme as I try to buy.
No, that's it. Bang. Yeah. Oh, but he throws his katana to his chest. He just gets up and runs away, but sure. And then I love, it seems like we're going to have this big, like, climactic, like, trying to find him and tracking him through the he's just like immediately finds him laying on the ground.
Shocker, he got a fucking sword through his chest.
He doesn't get very far. He just kind of falls over. And Roddy Piper finds him, and it just immediately finds him and sees him and just shoots him and kills him. It's like so anticlimactic. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
But it all services to be like, hey, now Roddy Piper has a...
Now he has an RPG, yes. So then he goes back to the vehicle, and the bad, evil frog lizard guy has arrived with his dudes in their vehicle. And they're standing there, and I love Roddy Piper pulls his RPG out, and it's like, I'm gonna kill you. And one of the toad guys goes, like it does this really garbled, it's like, so no. It's so good.
He comes to the point where he's about ready to pull the trigger, and his bodyguards go off, and he gives like a no.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. That's the no.
Oh, that one?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay, so it was the main dude.
Yeah, it's the main guy.
I thought it was like his driver or something.
No. It's the main guy. Yeah,
hilarious. But then, man.
The RPG does not work. So then they get into a fight, and I'm pretty sure, they don't show the whole thing, but I think they filmed this at Vasquez Rocks. Did you notice that? You know what Vasquez Rocks is? So Vasquez Rocks is a very famous filming location. I think it's in the TMZ, which is why everybody films there. But famously, it was, I believe, the final location for the battle between Kirk and the Gorn in TOS.
Yes.
It's those rocks in LA. There was also a TV show on Netflix a while ago called Everything Sucks, where they went to film there because the kids were like fans of Star Trek or whatever. But lots of like sci-fi movies and stuff have filmed there because it's kind of an alien looking like deserty location. I'm pretty sure that's where this fight takes place. Because this fight basically is Kirk versus the Gorn.
Yes.
Like basically.
This guy in this frog costume can't move at all.
Yes.
And Rowdy Roddy Pipper's just like,
Yeah. Yeah. And basically just gets him to the edge of a cliff. 2 movies in a row. Weird. Wow, spoilers for next episode where the villain just falls off a cliff and fucking dies. But yeah, he gets him to the edge of the cliff and is able to kick him off the cliff, and he falls to his death. Hooray.
Yay.
He saved the day. And so he's able to get back. Everybody's alive. Everybody survived except for Looney and the sexy frog lady. But they're now driving back to MedTech. And I love... he's talking to Donna. Oh, because he reunites with, or not Donna, with Spangle. Why did I call it Donna?
Because you were thinking of an Andy said, is it Sedaris? Sedaris? You were thinking of an Andy Sedaris film.
Why?
I don't know. Isn't that one of the main characters that don't like Hard Ticket to Hawaii?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
A blonde named Donna.
And maybe that's what it is.
It's a horny film with a blonde in it.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's got to be Donna.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was Donna. I don't know. Anyways, but Spangle. And he gets back to her and he's like, they like have a brief moment where he like wants to like be with her, and she's like,
stop. Why?
You gotta save yourself for fertiles.
I have enough.
No, you have to save yourself for the fertiles. And he goes, I have enough. Amazing. Oh God. And then they get in the car and she's what?
He has an enormous amount of seminal fluids.
Yes, exactly. It's incredible.
A clinical examination of the patient revealed an inordinate amount of seminal fluid.
Then he gets back in the car with all the wives and everything, the brides or whatever.
All right, harem, we're off to whatever, was it Medvac or something like that?
Yeah. Well, MedTech, and because she goes like, after this is all over, or after you've finished your duties, we should go on a vacation or whatever. And he goes, what do you mean finished my duties? And then she like gestures, and he turns around, and all the ladies are like looking at him like, give us that jizz.
It would have been perfect to end it. We could have even done like a Looney Tunes style, like
him, like
we just go to Rowdy Roddy Piper is like, it's a living.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, he basically does. He says a soldier's work.
A soldier's work is never done.
It's never done. Like,
what a fucking. This is good bad.
Oh,
why are we even
bad.
debating that?
Absolutely good bad. My last line in my notes is, holy shit, Donald Jackson can make good movies. Yes. Like, that is what my final note was. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely good bad. It's fantastic.
Like, with the quality that we got here, it is so disappointing that he didn't do more work with like an actual scripted narrative.
Yeah, and like with like real crew and like real because it's fantastic. He could have made 1 million of these movies. I would have watched every one. Mm-hmm. On this show. Yeah, it's so good. So good. That's going to do it for this episode. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there for a few bucks a month, get bonus content, stuff like that. We're going to record a Q&A that'll get posted there here after these episodes are done, as well as our bonus episodes. We're reading our bonus shorts. This month we're doing a PSA on bullying and how to or not even about anti-bullying, about like how to like deal with bullies, basically. Yes,
and it's from a self-defense course, which is
it's amazing. Oh my God, I was losing my mind watching this thing. So that's this month's bonus short. You support us on Patreon, you get access to that. I have a podcast called This Films That we're talking about movies that are based on books. When this episode is out, our most recent episode will have been what was the last one we did? We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Yes, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is it's a story by Shirley Jackson and It was a pretty famous author from
The Lottery.
The Lottery, yes. But the film, nobody's ever heard of it. It's a mystery, but it's got Sebastian Stan in it. Alexandra Daddario's in it.
So this is within at least the last 5 years.
2019, 2020. An interesting film. Crispin Glover is in it, which is super interesting. Interesting movie. Not like an amazing movie, but we talk about it on the episode. It's a lot of fun. So go check that out. We have merch. You can buy merch. Just head over to TeePublic and search for Good Bad or Bad Bad. You can find
your t-shirts. Get your what else? Mugs. There's a wide variety of things.
Phone cases.
We may have
pretty
more
much
art
anything.
coming.
Pretty much anything you can imagine. Look out. Go get that. And that's gonna do it. Until next time, keep watching movies.
Especially.
It's on YouTube.
Hell comes to Frogtown. You can watch it on Tubi and YouTube.
There you go. Cannot recommend it enough. This episode's not even that long, so you're not even getting nearly all the good stuff that was in that movie. Go watch it.
It deserves your attention. It's that level of good bad.
Yes, absolutely. Bye.